Is this the one that you want?
Yes, yes, any entity. This is an entity. So it is dynamic and alive. So my question is, when we know that this entity alive, that means it's give and receive. And we know in this in the space, in the universe, they know you from the color what you are emitting. And we know also in the universe, you ask, you receive. Asking in this meaning that what you need, and you give what you do not need. So the question, how I identify an entity, if this is this color, what it emits, it is what it need, because the color also has strength of plasma. So how I identify this? Is it this color is what is luck because she don't have, that's why she showing up this color, or this color which is it have and need to give out to exchange, because they are working with exchange fields. So really, this is a little bit puzzle me to understand.
Good evening. Can I come in?
Oh,
Yes,
go ahead. I was going to answer the question. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'll stay quiet. I'll stay out there. I'm a novice seeker. I'll stay out of it.
I chased Susie away.
I thought the color you see is the color the entity cannot hold on to.
The color you see is not what it cannot hold on to, but but the balance between yellow and the white is the strength which the flower sends that it needs to attract or to receive. You don't look at the colors individually. You look at the balance, the strength which the flower emits. And we don't see it, but if you look at the field of the strength of it, it's the fields which it needs to absorb from the, what we call the environment, the protein, for it to mature the seeds inside it, because at the back of this yellow pot, there is a seed. It needs to mature it. This is the belly of the mother. Behind it is the womb. And this is what we say always in the creation. We receive some of the energy from our mother in the womb, but we attract a lot more from outside. So in a way, that yellow pot on the top is the field interaction or attraction, which the protein strength the plant needs to nourish the seeds in the back. That's all. A mother eats food. When the plant, that's why when the plant feeds the children and ready to be born, the plant does not receive, it does not give any more energy, so it understands the point of saturation or the growth of the seeds are complete. And then the plant shivers, and the field of the yellow tells the white, the mission is over. We have fed the children, they're ready to go. This is how the nature works. This yellow drum is a creation of between the yellow and white, they create like a zinc and copper. It creates the strength of the field of the protein, which it needs from the atmosphere to absorb, to feed its children inside, to make it available for them inside. And if you look at the back of this plant, you see where the seeds finish, there is a structure, which is the copy of the yellow but inside, but weaker. So in trying to feed from where it absorbs to the back, it nourishes delivers energy to the seeds for them to mature and to grow. The growth of the flowers and plants, it's a natural process of absorption of protein. But if all the protein comes and sits on the yellow, doesn't do much. But internally, the white is connected to bring that flow back from the back. And it's like a plate in the back of the sac, which is connected to the white. So the circulation comes and the protein continuously goes in, and what is not needed in a real life, children do the waste through their umbilical cord to the mother to get rid of. This, between the white and yellow, at the back, if you look at it, the white goes deep in a specific way that it taps into the back of the sac, and whatever the children don't need, which are the seeds, release into there, and the white brings out and releases. It's a continuous circulation. It's not just a flower. A flower is exactly like a womb of the mother. That's why the mother is like a flower. It has a magnetical protein circulation. It's not that whatever comes from the roots, without it, they will not grow. The seeds will not mature. And in a genetic modification, that's what they do. They deprive the seed to create the circulation of the motion of the fields. So when you look at the plant, look exactly why this plant, in the back of it, there are children, there are babies, they need to be fed. And the creation between yellow and white difference creates calls in the protein which the yellow can take on its own. And in that process, in a way, the white stays the positive, the yellow stays the negative, and it pulls. But because it has a moisture on it, it's like the top of the gas plates. It absorbs protein, and that protein energy goes through as an energy to the children, and then the white takes what they don't need, and then they still keep that balance. We see it in the plates.
So if I identify what this plants need by the energy.
If you identify its amino acid, yes, energy of its amino acid, then you'll find out you can grow the children inside. This is what we'll teach very soon about the growth of children in an enhancement unit. In a way, we have a knowledge to create children without the womb of the mother in the enhancement unit. But if we show it, a lot of you will become kafar. You know what the kafar is in English, in Farsi, in Arabic?
Cover up.
You deny the creator. Because you say, I can do it myself. We see how many people have done that in Keshe Foundation.
Mr. Keshe, you've just said the umbilical cord is a tract where the child gets rid of what he doesn't need.
Most of, yes,
true?
more or less. What is it? Pardon?
Yeah, no, I want to interpret it clearly.
Yeah, it's a circulation, waste circulation.
Exactly.
Part of the muscle tissue circulation, yes.
So the child only nutrites himself from the energy acquired from the fields.
That's how the principle of the creation is.
Good.
The,
No, I wanted to.
The womb of the mother, the liquid of the womb of the mother is much more stronger than the blood of the mother. And the child is a transformer. As it goes from the high energies to low energies waste, the child absorbs it and nourishes and grows.
And he also breathes it. If he can't breathe it, his lungs don't.
Doesn't matter. It's not that. It's not important. The whole thing is you have the womb as one of the reasons the shape of the womb changes. And if you look at the shape of the womb of the mother, if it is up or down, you can say if it's a boy or a girl. The shape of the belly usually is a very good indication of what you're going to get as a boy or a girl.
Mhm. Very interesting. Thank you.
Because the girls usually take from the top towards the heart of the mother. That's where the love comes, and that's how they can teach their children. The boy is away from the mother, sits lower. But majority of the cases, this is how it works. The process of creation is very, very clear. It's very easy if you understand it.
May I add a point?
Carry on. Why you ask me? I'm a student like you. I'm listening. You had a beautiful presentation, as good as much as I could to stay in at the time. I had to go out a couple of times for meetings, but it was a beautiful presentation. It's the first time I see a knowledge seeker speaks the correct way near enough about the fields and not matter, and it makes a lot of direct sense.
Well, thank you very much. It's taken, well, it took about 6 weeks of preparation to get to that point. Because
It's taken mankind 6 million years. Is not bad for 6 weeks.
No, I'm referring to the I told you, the 3,000 Brazilian knowledge seekers who came on. You know that this is all foreign to them, but you know, Jalal has asked a question which has upset me for I've been teaching now. I guess this is my 3rd year. It's upset me for 3 years because no one asked this question before, and I know you've answered the question in a very important way with respect to creation and protein building, but I believe the question you asked, Jalal, is if you absorb what you are and you emit what you reflect, like in terms of color, in terms of the color that is, it's the color that you see is the color that you are not. This was a problem for me to understand. So the color that you see is the reflection of the color that you're not absorbing. However, that is not the color that you emit. There's a difference between the emission spectrum and the reflection spectrum. So the emission spectrum comes from within, comes from the soul. And so the aura that you're looking at is actually the representation of your soul. And for the majority of us, we cannot see the aura unless we're clairvoyant, and then we can see the aura, and then we can interpret the aura and through the colors of the aura, because the colors of the aura reflect of what you are, the essence of what you are, whereas the color that you see is the color that you're not. So literally speaking, if you're wearing blue jeans, they're every color except blue because they absorb all the other colors. So you don't see that. You only see the color that's reflected. I want to emphasize the difference between the point of the plasmatic emission of the color spectrum and the reflection of the matter state emission of the color spectrum.
And after that, I will ask you a question, huh? Don't forget.
Yeah, okay, but I'm hoping that this is the answer to the question that I think you were asking. Did I answer the question that I think you were asking?
Yeah, part of it, yes. Thank you. But let's say, if the physicality is copper and the emotion is zinc, what is the strength of the soul?
Oh, come on, Jalal. The stronger feeds the weaker, so the soul is stronger.
Maybe Gatwa can answer me this question.
No, but you know, you take a look at, you know, who is stronger, the male or the female? the male is physical dominated and the female is emotional dominated. Yeah, well, who runs the show? It's always, really the emotional strength is stronger. If I let's say, okay, you're an athlete, okay, and I'm the coach, okay. If I can't capture you emotionally, the physically will not follow. If I motivate you, the physical follows easy. This is why people go to war, because the captains and then the people who are behind that, they have motivated you emotionally to go to war, because when who's so stupid to go to war? The only way that you can do that is when you limit yourself to your emotional and physical interaction and you totally forget about your soul. If you would connect to the soul, like the way we are naturally gifted to be able to connect to the soul, we would never go to war. There's no way that you can be convinced to go to war because it's a violation of universal laws. Life wants to live, and that's the way it is. So what we're doing is the opposite to that. So we need to turn around our viewpoint, and so we have to differentiate between what is the emission in a matter state and what is the emission in the plasmatic state, and we have to understand which is stronger. So we have to entertain those fields. That's the change that we're going through. So as I said, one of the frustrations I had as a soccer player is I would play in the lower leagues, like an industrial league, and I go into a game and I get kicked 6 times. And I thought, these guys are ruffians. No, they're uncoordinated. They don't know because I kick them back and they think it's normal. And then that's a stupid thing. So just abandon that league, go to a higher league. I've played in higher leagues, never get kicked. The only time I get kicked is the guy wants to stop me, definitely kicks me. Okay. But not accidentally. The guy kicks me just for the sake of kicking me, not because he's intentioned, just because he's incompetent. So this is the same thing we can do with the souls. Instead of fighting, being anti-maskers or anti-vaccine, we need to elevate our souls, change their platform, go to a game that they can't do. They can't play poker. They can't lie, cheat, and steal. Okay, because that's not the way the universe works. The universe is a benevolent place, and we are the travelers in the universe. All we have to do is understand that the universe is a benevolent place and gives us as much energy as we need, no more, no less. Then all of a sudden, all the knowledge seekers here today can go to bed tonight with peace and serenity, that you can sleep at night knowing that you don't have to be terrorized the way this population is being terrorized on this planet today. So once you know the truth, then you have to stop and realize, wait a second, which is the stronger field? Which can I enlist the services of? And this becomes a skill that we all have to learn. And unfortunately for most of us, we have to unlearn the other skills. The ones who have an easy time learning are the children. They get this easy. You could talk to a young kid and explain to them why. Because they soak up the energy like a sponge, because they trust. They inherently trust. It's only as adults that we start to be deceivers and we think, oh my, this is a great characteristic to have. Not at all. I'm sorry. But that's the difference. When we emanate who we are, and who we are is what we give our time and attention to. Thanks very much, Jolan.
Thank you.
Anna has a question, and then we can go to Stephen and Lena. And please allow the others to participate. So don't take up too much of the time. We want others to be able to open their mic and participate. Jalal, is your question, is everyone's question answered?
So it's okay. It's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Liliana. Liliana, can you open your mic? The question was, does the soul have a color?
Yes, of course it has a color. Every soul has a different color, though. We have 7 billion souls on this planet. Each one of us is of a different flavor. And that flavor is a combination of the various experiences that we've had through our journeys. And it is the dominating forces of those field strengths is where the commonality comes in. So common purpose, common interests, common understanding. It is not identical. There's no such thing as identical because there are no two energy spots at the same point in time. Energy is always in motion. So you and I can come to the same conclusion, but come through different paths. And when we come to the same conclusion, we have a common ground, and that is a binding force. And that is a welcome binding force. That is not done through a abuse of binding energy, but that is a welcome part of creation, and that is the essence of creation. So 7 billion of us were brought to this planet, but we now have to realize not only how we got here, but why we got here. And for so many people on this planet, they have no sense of purpose. They have no sense of identity, and they go through this depression, this total depression. Nobody on this panel today can go to sleep rightfully without having a depression, except for the fact that we are depressed at the state of mankind today. And so we bring the Peace Dome twice a day on Sundays. But you know what? The Peace Dome is all the time. You don't just sit there, clench your fists, clench your teeth, squint your eyes, and say, I am going to manifest a Peace Dome. It's not the way it works. It's as natural as sun coming up in the morning, sun going down at night, the earth rotating on its axis. It's natural, natural, natural. And we are part of that process. As long as we understand that, open, allow, yield, and receive those energies, then we are working with the universe, not against it. Never tell the universe to shut up.
Thank you, Alex. Stephen?
Thank you for your question, Leanna.
Can I add to this a little bit? All the souls have the same color at source. It's the interaction with us which gives them that color. The color we see them at. I might see the soul to me will be pink, but to you could be blue. And so when you ask if the souls have different color, all the souls are the one in essence. In respect to their strength and into the dimension of their work, in interaction with us, we see the color we see. Not everyone sees them the same color. And this is how we find we're in love with one soul, or we need something from the soul for us to have energy, or we need something from the soul to take us somewhere, according to what taking us somewhere, love and energy means in color to us. But in essence, the energy, the fields of all the souls are the same. According to us, now we understand the energy of plasma is what we observe as a color of, and what that color means to us in the interaction with ours. Where to us could be, I love you, and to another one is, I like you. But I like you, to his color could be the same pink as I love you to you, but to him that pink color means I like you. So yes, the souls have only one color. Is us, the interaction with our soul, which will decide what that color means to us. And this is what is emitted in our vocabulary. Otherwise, a soul has to keep on changing its color. Depends how many souls are in touch with. So in reality, has one color, is the creation of. The ultimate goal is, into the man's eyes, is gold. It's the highest level. because we value the gold that way. So it's become part of our inherited strength. And then we have the white, which is a transparent white. And we reach that point of development that we can gradually show these things. And we're testing in the labs, we see it, we observe different things and how people even come in touch with different cancers, change their, what we call the colors on the souls and their emotion. And we are testing some of the most beautiful systems at a moment which we see some beautiful things that mankind will enjoy to see. As I said before, I'm spending more time in the lab. That's one of the reasons I was late. This Sunday late, we were working in the lab, testing one of the most advanced flight systems. Maybe we shall in the coming times. So what we see, how we feel the system, what it wants from us, all counts. All counts. And so our soul is all the same. I made man in the image of myself, even the color of the soul. How you expect what you expect and respect what I want, show you different colors in respect to you and nobody else. There is the lady from Lena, she's here. She's got her hand up. I've seen you sending us the link for your article. Would you like to talk about it? And if you want to release the link public, could you allow Lena to speak, please?
Yes, I would like to say hello to everybody. Thank you very much for this invitation, especially to Mr. Ketan. And my query is about the plasma. How is related plasma with our emotional universe? If there is any logical explanation as consider the physical argumentation, or is everything with an holistic approach? Thank you very much.
First of all, before I answer you, would you like to release the link to your publication?
Yes.
Or not yet?
No, it's okay.
Has it been released?
I would like Mr. Ketan to do this because I'm on my mobile, so I cannot do it on the same time.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat if you want, or he can put it.
Okay, if he can put it, thank you very much.
Do you
Mr.
want me
Ketan.
to do it, Ketan?
The article is released in the Greek language, but next days it's going to be released in Italian and in English language as well.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
In answer to your question, in the plasma technology, we consider that all the fields within the structure of the plasma is one. So it does not have a separation.
Mm-hmm.
So the soul of the man is part of the construction of the plasma of itself.
Okay.
So it's nothing different than the rest, but within this structure, in a present matter state, we say this is the oxygen, this is the hydrogen, this is happiness emotion, that's the sad emotion. But because we have never understood that the emotion and the physical matter is a collection of fields, so they all sit within one structure, where within that structure, to a given point is a given strength, and when the field reaches to that point, we feel what that soul feels. If you repeat your question again, then they understand. I'll try to see how I can explain it to you in a different way.
So, according to Aristotle theory, everything is related to each other, all the fields. We are the one and we belong to the whole. So, you told me before that plasma is, I have to, the perception of plasma in my mind has to be like one unity. So, in this unity, I would like to explain to me how is the correlation between plasma to our emotional brain, let's say. Okay, you said that everything has layers, has different fields, but how can we interpret the emotional universe like a code in relation with the plasma? This is a question.
I'm trying to.
Mr. Keshe, can I say something to her? Maybe I can.
Yes.
The way you see the emotion, everything is a field. Because
Okay.
everything is, you see, your physicality is a field, your emotion is a field. So, for example, say you have an emotion of sadness, yeah?
Okay.
That has a, for example, if I give it a number, has a field of say 75, yes? And then
Good.
I can give you a field because I can actually make you happy in five seconds, because I can change your field, and in 5 seconds you start being very happy and you don't understand why you were even sad, because you think those emotions you own it, but you don't own it. Those are the field that you actually releasing those field, and you think this is me and these are my words and this is me, but actually everything is a field. And we all make a mistake and we go through life we owning all those fields as if this is us. Actually, all of us in a natural state, which is a God state, we are all peaceful and we have nothing, just love. But then because our field is so different, we think, oh, this is, I'm sad or I'm happy. And the other person is, and we actually judge everybody according to what they are. But in actuality, the field they show, the field they own, that shows the state of what they feel. But in actuality, there is no feeling as such as sadness or this and that. It doesn't exist because of your feel that you carry with you. You created that emotion. But if you understand it and you separate yourself from your thought and emotion, you actually can sit on the side and you look at your emotion and you say, oh, this is the emotion, but it's not part of me. But you actually can play with your emotion very easily. You don't have to own the emotion. You can look at them, you can play with them. But because you're in it, you think it's you. In actuality, it's not you. It's just your field that
So
person.
you have to take absence for the distance from your emotions so that you can observe it. But
Yeah. If you
you
under,
don't. Mhm. Tell me.
if you understand to separate your physical soul and soul, just a little touch between the two, actually you can go from physical to soul and you can play with it. You will know when you're in physicality, you will know when you're in the soul. It actually is amazing if you can do that. Then you will see all those things that you call my emotion is just a field. You can bring it up and down.
Can I come into explaining? I think what the question was is maybe can be explained in a different way and in the within teachings. What we see, what we always explain, is that the plasma is a three-dimensional, which goes this way. This is the representation of both. I have a problem with my pen now. Is the representation of what we call both gravitational and magnetical. It means it gives and takes. You have a hand on your thing. which is just somebody's hand. Is Steven's hands up? Is blocking my system. Can you release that hand because it sits on? Okay, it's done now. So what happened? Let's say this is the field, the strength of the soul as a plasma, because it's dynamical, and so the strongest sits in the center. The strength of the, let's say, the emotion of the love is another strength sitting with it, next to it, within the structure of it. Yeah. But it finishes to this point. The same plasma, the structure of, let's say, joy, sits the same way, but goes to here. If you take it, it goes up to here. Because the love is a giving, so it's to give more. Joy is something you take more, but you might not give that much. So all in a plasma state, everything is inherent. It's just like a tree with a bigger trunk in the center, and as it goes up, it narrows down. But at each level of height has different functionality. But this is the way we look at the plasma. The way the plasma of a soul is collective of all these inside it, and what it needs or what it receives at the given strength. When it receives the field, the strength of the gravitational and magnetic field at this strength, it knows this is a joy for the soul. At this strength, it knows is love, because it's given more, but doesn't expect much to receive, but it receives as the highest strength of it, because to give more of is what it is to give. So we actually receive more when we are in love than we give, but we think we give because we show it. And so the soul of the man is a spherical, is dynamic, but when you look at the GANs, it's dynamic and it's spherical. But all comes three-dimensional from the center. But all carries the same. And we understand this fully because in the enhancement units, we create plasmas of this strength. If you have a depression, if you have other diseases, now we can literally create boundary of the fields. And at the moment in the lab, we have developed what we call most probably the most advanced space fuel, which is on the test. And it's amazing how the field strength of the systems will dictate the flight condition. In the past, we used to create these kind of things. Now we generate conditions which brings the space fuel into the system and develops it inside, and we load it up that. And so when you look at the soul of the man, is a ball which has all within the strength of it. Every single thing at different strength has different emotion which the soul feels. This is the beauty of understanding the knowledge of the creation. It's the same in our brain. In our brain, when you slice the brain, you'll see where they say this is the place which we recognize joy, or where is the language. And you take your brain and cut it, slice it, and look at it. In the brain, when you look at the brain of the man, when you slice it across, you will see at a given slice position, even if you cut it with a knife, you feel the difference in the texture. And you know there's a point. And that slice position is like cooking, burning. You know it's used for a specific purpose. The problem is we don't understand the science and we don't look at it the way it is. I work very much like Da Vinci. I've done that for years because then we can translate. When I want to test something like a brain, I take a very sharp knife, extremely sharp knife, which just carries the weight of itself. And I feel the emotion of this knife going through the tissues. Then you sense there is a position, which position the brain is. And when you study the books, they tell you this is a position of the memory or whatever. And then we try to understand the structure, because now we produce the brain. For us to produce a copy of a brain is extremely easy. Time consuming, but you can create it. It's been done in the lab. So when you pass the point of the soul of the animal in the brain, you feel it. You feel the emptiness. This is why I precisely can go and say where the position is. It's so minute. And so when you look at it from that point, it's a sun, it's three-dimensional. What we see as a heat and energy on this side of the sun, we see it on the other side of the sun. But the other, the sun, if you are in a winter or summer season, which part of it you are, we see the same sun, the same strength. So is the soul of the man. In the strength of the brain, it changes to emotion. In the strength of the neck down, in interaction with the soul of the planet, the central point of gravity creates elongated object, which is the physicality of the man. And even that, you can see how it transfers his emotion. How the body, when we look at the body of the man, when you have the head and you have the brain, and you have the spinal cord, if you look at it, how is the structure itself? It's amazing how everything is placed, the lungs, the heart, the intestines, everything has set in respect to what energy can be transferred out in respect to the planet Earth. There is no way man will give birth to a child in a space and will be looking like a man if we live the dimension of the space, because the gravitational pull dictates something else, but our genes and our RNA will dictate these are the things I need in respect to the environment. Can it be accommodated? So we have a lot of understanding, because when you look at it, if we can draw it in a different sense, is you have the skull of the man, you have the brain of the man, and then you have the position of the soul of the man. The soul radiates like this. And beyond the boundary of the brain. And in interaction with different points, here is a joy. Here is sadness. Here you find memory of the good things. Here you find memory of the bad things. That's why we have two halves of the self. And present science says man uses at any time 5, maybe 10% of their brain. If now we understand this science of the life. Brain works 24 hours a day. There is nowhere it stops. And this position with here, it creates, in this section, memory and information in our computer. In respect to Earth, the same fields in here creates the kidneys. Here there is the heart. Here is the lung. Depends what field the strength we are sitting in. And depends on the strength of the soul, because the strength of the soul in respect to the center of the earth decides the height of the man, the shape of the man. And that's why we see the short people have certain behavior, because they are there somewhere. So they receive different fields than the taller guy. And more or less, in the animal world, the hierarchy comes from the position of the brain.
I have a question in respect of that, Mr. Keshe.
You always have a question. Have I answered you? Have I answered the other question, please?
Yes, go ahead.
For Lena.
Have you understood? Is she still with us?
Professor Keshe, yes, I have understood. It's more clear to me. I have also written that in chat. Thank you very much for your
Well,
kindness to explain to me more
Oh.
analytically.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Yes, hello.
Mr. Keshe, if we are generating every 7 or 9 years our cells, so why we are dying?
What?
If all the cells of the body is regenerate every 7 to 9 years, a new cells coming, why we are dying?
We regenerate the cells, but the generation of the cells in a way has nothing to do why we die. The reason we die is how much energy dimension of physicality can feed to elevate the soul of the man that can open this cage, that he can go through it. By consumption of the food we have and the energy we absorb from our environment, we transfer this into our soul. We are continuous feed of it. If we get a more nourished goods with different way of living, we'll find out we can give more, and then we transfer more to the soul. But at the same time, we strengthen the cage too, so the soul cannot escape. And that comes from our blood. Our blood is the cage, which is current called the plasma. I've explained this many times before. The brain of the man, you have a cage called the skull. And in this process, you have a blood which circulates just only around, it doesn't need to go in it. And the soul of the man, I have somebody else's hand on. The soul of the man sits here. The energy we breathe through our nose continuously feeds this. The soul takes the best of it because it passes just behind your nose. You feed it, and the soul of the man has found the best position to sit to absorb the virgin energy as it comes the highest levels. The leftover goes into our lung. So if we live a life where we can expand the energy of the physical blood, we tighten the grip on the soul. As we grow older, this goes. So, but this grows. So now it gets enough strength to break through. And he frees it. The soul, the brain of the man, the skull of a man is like a plasma tokamak. It creates a magnetic field through flow of the blood in the face and the back and the side to hold this plasma, which is the soul of the man inside. Once this weakened, the soul has a place and time to live. It's overcoming. It's like when you can overpower somebody who's holding your hand behind your back. When you gather enough energy, it doesn't matter how long they can keep you, but the minute you can gather enough energy that you overcome to open your hand and get their hands off you to release yourself, you're free. And this is how the body of the man works. The minute we gather enough energy from eating, from breathing, or whatever, that the soul strength can supersede the strength of the magnetic field of the blood, which holds it together, we are trapped. Our soul is trapped within our brain. This is why when they shoot you, you lose blood, or you cut your body, the blood goes, voila. But you see, it's gone, the cage is gone, the soul is free. The energy it needs, there is no resistance. Now we understand the full process of life. So when they say when you live a healthy life, if you do this, if you do a sport, you continuously expand magnetic field of the blood. So it doesn't matter as much as you feed it, but you strengthen it. And by feeding it, you sell off the body of the man in generation and progressiveness. And you go old because you, in a way, the physicality sacrifices the energy for the soul to mature, to become free. And when the process is completed, there is nothing to hold the soul back. It's free.
Mr. Keshe, last January you mentioned the soul feels from the CO2 our lungs exhalate. Is that it?
Can you repeat?
You mentioned last January that our soul takes the energy from the CO2 we exhalate through our mouth or through our nose.
So breathing and exhaling all the time. What energy is needed is given to the soul. Mistake. If you put your position of the back of your nose in a position of your eye together, you see, you find a gap between the center of the eye and the center of the nose. That's the spot where you find within that gap the place of the soul of the man in the brain. It's a very, very methodical. This is where, don't forget, that the soul of the man receives huge amount of energy, cosmic energy, which is over the calcium level, which holds it and the blood through the eye of the man. At the same time, receives a fresh, continuous energy through the nose where you breathe. When you go for your corona test, this is your nose, if I can tell you, this is your mouth. They don't put this poke that way. They put the poke this way, where the breathing tunnel goes. That's your eyes. It is literally the professional ones that go here. That's where it goes and it goes down. And your soul sits literally here. So, because when the minute, as I explained, in the minute up to here to the nose, you're breathing matter. From this point, because the body of the man is in a gaseous state, dynamic plasma motion, it becomes a plasma. So once it behaves in a plasma condition, it's an energy source. And at the beginning, whatever is rubbish, what is not needed is absorbed by the cell or whatever. And what is at the strength of the soul of the man is here. It feeds it and goes in. The same way, when you breathe out, what it could bring to benefit of it sits there. It gives and then it goes. The soul of the man is a massive energy eating machine. It continuously works. So it needs to receive that it can give and to cycle to work. Gets part of it with the soul of the man, get part of it with the environment, part of it from breathing air, part of it from the physical digestion of the fields of the body of the man, part of it from the earth itself.
Mr. Keshe, Question. From what you just said, how are we sure that the swipe for that COVID text is not infected? Because it goes straight towards our brain.
I'm not going into COVID problem. I'm not. You can't put me there.
Okay.
Because it's something at the moment very touchy with, especially what's been released in past 48 hours. We keep away from it and try not to get involved in there.
Stephen's been trying to come in, Mr. Keshe.
Yeah.
Can you entertain his question, please?
Hello, can I share a screen?
Yes.
We see your screen.
These are from your cup of life, the cup of the 5 cups.
No. This is a replication of the womb. And what I was trying to, this goes back to when we were talking about the color of the soul, the entity that it manifests from the soul. And I was trying to give Jalel an example of his answer. And because we talked about the shape and the of the flower and how it has the petals, and given unfettered or requirements that it allows itself to manifest, how, at what point, what shape does it take as part of his emotion? I was just wanting to show an entity that has that opportunity to show to manifest its shape based on its soul, and how it doesn't require organs to survive. It doesn't need the lungs. It doesn't need the brain per se. It doesn't need the legs. It doesn't need the arms. It doesn't need to move, that the cell would have to regenerate every 7 years. And so I was just trying to give a representation so that we can, because I know we started to get off on the breathing and all that, but getting back to the fields and how we're going to see the fields and how we're going to work with the fields, we still need to understand the fields. And when you draw that picture 2-dimensionally, Mr. Keshe, even though it's a 3-dimensional spiral, I was going to say is that if you rotate it to the side view, the height of the plasma, in a way, which is, you can't really represent it, but in a way I wanted to show the picture that does represent it, and how given everything that it needs, the GANs, and in a way the intermediary between the fields and the entity, what it's going to take to replicate the womb in a way that we live in 2 atmospheres. One is the salt waters and the other is the fresh airs, so to speak. And so how, when we come to find another condition when we're outside that, what are the requirements are that we're going to need to survive in those different atmospheres. So I just wanted to try to put an actual imagery up there for people to kind of start to work with, if that's beneficial. So that. So the ever-changing field interaction and the in a way you spoke of the dome or well, they were speaking of the at some point you have the transition between the matter and the intermediary, and just trying to give an idea of it's very hard to see, but the where the entity is clear and there's no the difference between this and this are fields of the in a intermediary of more liquid than solid.
Can I
Yeah, go
make
ahead.
your life easier if we can add something?
Sure.
I think it explains it in an easier way. First of all, we cannot do the way you asked with the systems we have at the moment. We have to be flat two-dimensional. So if I turn it the other way to go back, it'll make no sense. But on the other hand, if we add to the knowledge, or now that we know more, we have to add to the knowledge, and we have to consider it from now on, that up to now, we said we need the water to live, we need air to breathe, and what else? Now, with the knowledge we have, we need the food, which is one part of it. But the fourth factor is the fields of the universe and our environment. We never considered this. But actually, 80% of, as we said all the time, our energy comes from our environment. 20% of it is what we breathe and we eat. If man could live with all the work he does with 2,000 calories a day, by God, man would have been a pencil. To support such an active life, man lives, walks, thinks, holds breath, and heats his body and everything. If you can do that with 2,500 calories a day, you are God. So in fact, we need maybe 10 times more than that. But the environment provides us. So in the process of life from now on, we have to look at what air we breathe, what water we drink, what food we consume, and what is the magnetic field of the environment which we take and give to. Because in space, there is no more air. In the space, there is no water. In the space, there is no food. But in the space, there are fields that we can convert to what we need. And this is the new space technology, conversion of the fields of the universe to what the body of the man will need to exist to elevate his soul. That's all we do. Even our physical life, as was just said, is to elevate the soul to the strength that it can become free and find its position without the shackles of physicality. So in fact, up to today, we have always ignored the most important point, feeder of our life, which is the fields of the universe. Be it from the table, be it from the chair, be it from the cosmic rays, we continuously take everything to guarantee our survival. And as you've seen in the enhancement units, you don't need to eat when you go in there. We tune it that you don't need medicine. We tune it that you don't need water. We tune it that you don't need anything. So in fact, if you understand this, we give birth in enhancement units to the soul of the man without condition of physicality. And then physicality can be added to it according to the shape and the strength of the soul. This process is ongoing in our body from the minute of conception to the day we die. But we never ever added the fourth state of our life, which is the fields of it. And how is interacting with us and how and what we receive from it dictates our emotion. That's why when we go to different environments, we receive different feeling. We go to the park, we go to the jungles, because we receive the feels from the environment directly to our body. That's why one of the biggest problems in the society today is we cannot change the criminals. We put them in a cell, we give them nothing except the energy of the bricks and the water and everything else. How do you expect it to change? If the new prisons are built with a condition of the delivering fields, full spectrum of the fields which elevate soul of the man, no criminal will be in that position anymore. They will not commit crime because you elevate the soul, as I've said many times. When knowledge of the man reaches to the point of maturity, there'll be no prisons, there'll be no judges, there'll be no courts, there'll be no hospitals, because mankind will reach to the point where it needs at the point of its survival. And we are not very far. Because once we teach one soul, the rest will learn and it comes into the strength of it. So when you speak now about, especially with what we heard Alex explain, if you understood it completely, in the background, now we have to look to the fourth state of energy which we receive, which is 80% of it, and we ignored it up to. Just because we ignored it through lack of understanding doesn't mean it doesn't exist. If I change the fields around you, I control your emotion because your brain becomes deprived of what it needs through the field of the blood to interact with your soul to create that emotion. And that's what we do in enhancement units. We change the environment and you go from depression to a happy man that walk around and that's it. A blind man to man can see and that's it. We have to, now we understand the process that our body is made of what we call dynamic plasmas or gases. So it has to interact, it needs to be fed. You cannot feed it banana. You have to feed it what it's made of and what it interacts with. So in the future, forget about shopping, because you can take whatever you need, you create the fields of it, and if you want to put the emotion, you feel the banana and taste the oranges, and that's it. So when we talk about life, we need to talk about what life needs to exist. Food, water, air, and fields. Without the last one, you don't exist. Because up to now, we never knew our body is a plasma dynamic.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Keshe. And I just wanted to show a representation that I believe that of that, and that after 4 years, the entities still survive without. Thank you.
Raphael has placed a question in the chat. Raphael, are you still here?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, everybody. It's Rafael from Brazil here. So I have a question to Mr. Keshe. Are you able to answer, Mr. Keshe?
Yes.
Yes, the chat here. So I read what I wrote. It's so Mr. Keshe, you asked us to teach the cup of food in the church of Brazil here in the last Friday teachings. So in Rick's teaching, you said if we made a cup of life in the refrigerator, it would gather all the fields of the food in the refrigerator. And then by drinking the water, we wouldn't have to eat much. So if we ask the people to put all the food that they need for existence in the refrigerator, and then after adding the salt water, put the cup of life also in the refrigerator, then would drinking the water do both, discharge the virus and feed the people? That's my question.
If it's done the right way, yes. If you, that's why we left the new set of cup for the soul of the man. In that way, no, we usually, except the central point, we do not refer to anything else, how to connect the rest. Because you feed to the energy of the soul, dynamic energy of the field. But it's not just to put a gas water in the fridge. You have to understand exactly how you put it in, the system you put in, and what you need. Whatever you need, you just change the food, you get different taste, but the system is always there, you take from it. It's like literally ice maker on the fridge door. You don't need to change the system. You just put water in it, and whatever is in there, that's the food you put in the fridge. But the new understanding is to move away from the physical condition and move into the field of the energy that you can easily compensate the 20% what body needs and it takes as a food.
How does this feeding system get embedded into the soul of physicality?
In so many ways, yes. As you know, one of the directors of the NASA Corporation, Mr. Nader, is very much into these ways of working. He's a Iranian guy. He's been on the top of NASA for years. And in the process, I've had many discussions with them. I met Mr. Nader a few times. The present space technology does not allow for a new way of thinking to come in. To understand that we can change the systems into a feeding through energy, then feeding through what you call material. And if you look at the newer space science, we just feed the soul of them and feed at the strength that it absorbs and then give into the field of the body. The enhancement units are amazing systems. It's not just for one thing, it's actually a space reactor, a space system on its own, fully integrated system. It can feed you, it can fly you, it can nourish you, it can make you better, it can do everything you wanted. And if, as I said to a friend very recently, and if you need a pocket full of gold to go shopping, it fills your pocket with the gold as well before you leave. If you know how to make materials in your pocket. When you look at, we say you can feed it by putting a cup, you have to understand what cup and how you do it. The days where I used to show you black and white and you go and then all sorts of things is over. Now is you're all graduates, you should be able to do it. Test it till you find out the combination. Alex used to do these things a lot. He's back in Nigeria now. We don't hear from him much.
Mr. Keshe, hi, it's Dean here. Can I ask a question, please?
I'm a knowledge seeker. Why do you ask me a question? Ask Alex, he's the teacher.
Alex may be able to answer, but I can ask you if you like.
Definitely next time come as Susie. Nobody knows I'm.
Okay. So you were talking about the breath, and you're talking about the lungs and how they feed the emotion of the man, and feed the physicality and feed the soul. So one thing I found was that when, and this is through your teachings, when I held my breath to feed my soul, the intentions and wishes were amplified. So by holding your breath in the top of your, not into your lungs, but just into your mouth, that you seem to feed your soul more, and you were creating that space gap. You were creating that that stillness, that place for the soul to manifest itself and intensify its wishes. Would that be something that you would say was still correct?
Oh yes, always is correct, but you got to understand something this way. You got a skull of the man, and then someone's hand is up. I have to get rid of it, otherwise I cannot get my colors. And if you look at something which we have talked many times before, this is the skin of the man. The skin comes, goes in a hole, becomes like this, become like this, and then it goes, and interesting enough, in its structure it goes like this. Your arms and your legs, and that's it. So if you understood this, is that the skin of the man, the inside lining of this lung of the man, and the brain of the man are all of the same material, the strength field. So because these are where we are separated from outside the environment. This is the boundary. When the air comes in, goes through the nose, is still here, and it goes out of the nose. So the skin, the lung, and the brain are of the same tissue. And this is why when we give you the enhancement units or we give you anything, we always give you the Keshe, the Hubble bubble. Because we're not we only strengthen this, through the lungs, which is connected, we strengthen these two. We change your emotion with the air you breathe, because the air goes in your lung, but your lung still is part of your outside excremities. That's where you separate you from the atmosphere of this planet. So with it to be able to do that has to be part of the decision making, rapid decision making, which is the brain. It's the same with your skin. Your skin and your inner lining of your lungs and your brain are all constantly as part of the same learning, teaching, and decision making. So if we understand this, is very easy to overcome anything which comes in my damage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe, for that answer. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Keshe. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I'm thinking when
Who's
we
speaking?
think
You introduce.
I'm Rano from Italy.
Yes.
I thought when we think about orange or banana, we are now creating a magra fields because I thought we have a kind of archives of all the food, all the smell, all the things coming through the sense. And maybe I thought we have a kind of archives, magra archives of all these things. And when we think, let's say, the touch of something or the taste of something, in so many ways, we are creating that kind of magnetic gravitational fields of that, or the specific sense. Maybe it's a touch, maybe it's a smell, but whatever it is, we are creating a kind of a strength of that kind of sense. I'm right.
In a way, yes. We say what we need, but we think about it because now we use the fields of the brain. It's straightforward working. We got to go back and to all the teachings and understand how to create gravity and magnetic field at the same time in any system, or understand where is the magnetical of a system and which part is gravitational part. What is it taking, and in interaction with the field of it, the body or the containment, what it gives back, that it has a room to receive. This is a process of life. That's what we live. We take energy of a higher order, we take something out of it, we increase its gravitational, and we release magnetical, and we release it. This is how you define food. And then you look all aspects of it. If you look the way I've designed systems for health, we give you water to drink, we give you patches of whatever to put on your skin, and we give the air to breathe. We cover that. But in the material we give you to put on there or whatever as ganses you rub on your skin, whatever, we create the fourth dimension presence of magnetic fields, which up to now man didn't know. That's how the patches in the system works. We provide you the water, but with the field added to it. We give you the clothing, but added to it. We give you the air to breathe, which is a matter state, plus what we add to it as the energy of the thing. We continuously evolve the higher order into the elevation of the soul of the man. That's why when I say you have the fourth estate, because your ganses give it, you should have known it by now. But I notice nobody notices these things. That's all it is. When you drink your water, you drink your water. But when you drink your gans water, you add a magnetic field plus what you need. That's why you have more energy, or you recover faster because it's already there. I have to go. Sorry about that. Thank you very much.
Mr. Keshe, that's what I was trying to represent, how the energy packet, if a virus is an energy packet, how you could visualize it or see it as a manifestation, and the shape and the color.
It has life. Of course it's a manifest. It has life. That's why it can connect itself to something else. I have to go. I do apologize.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank
Thank
you
you very much,
for
Mr.
all
Keshe.
your time.